Good morning,
Good
Alliance
morning.
community.
Morning.
What's going on? We're excited today. Today is Thursday. We're almost done with the week. My son's graduating 8th grade today, so I'm off wearing his school colors. And today we have our special guest, Andrew Soper from Ohio. Andrew's one of our most frequently commented fans, maybe. I don't know if he's a fan or just likes watching and stirring the pot. But now there's a face to the name, and of course we got Mike Carson over there on the other side.
Hey, everybody. So Andrew is also one of our lead moderators.
Yes. Andrew,
Yeah.
we're wanting to get everybody to meet you here, but let's we got comments already flying in. Let's say hey to everybody real quick. All right, yeah, we're on, Kyle. We're on. Alex, good morning. Great morning, he says. That's the attitude we want. What up? He says it's the best beard yet. My God, that is quite a beard. Just wait until we get Billy Ferguson on. That's a pretty good one, though. We got morning, fellas. Who's this? Bob. What's up, Bob? We're gonna get Bob back on soon too. Good morning, Gaspar. All right, we got those out of the way. Today we're gonna talk to Andrew. You guys paying attention? You've seen Andrew commenting on a lot of things. He's got, I think, 18, 19 years in the industry. Just recently started his own business. There's Billy and Rob Cruz. What's up? You just started your business in January, and this is an interesting take for somebody that's been a tech for so long, working for somebody else. We've long admired your attention to the details on the business end, the big picture outlook. Before we knew you as a business owner, we knew you in the roundtables that Alex does. And yes, he'll take that title here until it's taken from him. So you always impress me, man, as being a guy that really gets what's going on the business level. And I always thought you would make a great service manager or a business owner if you ever chose to go into that route. And you did finally. Could you tell us about the journey that you've had?
You didn't want to start with a prayer?
Yeah, we do.
Let's open with a prayer.
Good. See, I'm lost. Mike, why don't you start us off?
I'll pray us in. Dear faithful Lord, we ask for your blessings today. We ask that we remember to hold you first in our lives and our tasks today. Keep us safe as everyone goes out there and goes from place to place, and plus all the techs that are working for some of us. Keep today an easy day. Let us be the light of you in this world to others. And if conversations come up, opening it up to your word. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Mike.
Welcome.
Thank you, Andrew. We want to start the day out right.
My story starts with vocational school, and then I'm just shy of I'm just over 18 years experience. I started with a company nearly right out of high school, and they groomed me into who I am. It's all thanks to them. I can't really take much credit for who I am. I had a couple of really good bosses that taught me the technical side, and then the business passed over to the son of the owner, and he took me under his wing. He was a great boss. I didn't leave because I disliked the company. I left because of a need to represent an area. At that time, I thought that was the best decision. Was I live between two metropolitan areas, and there's a growing section between the two that I felt was important to be present in that area for a better price than we were able to offer. That company was too far away because it's a good distance away. Where I live now, I felt that I could represent the area for a better price and give them a better value for what they were asking for. It's a growing area because it's between the two metropolitans, and obviously nobody wants to live in cities anymore. So that was my goal. He understood where I was coming from and welcomed me to move out and do it on my own. But I think he had done the numbers probably already on his own and knew that it wasn't the most profitable method. But I think I'm going to make a good business. It just may not be a good 5 to 10 tech business. It's gonna do fine for myself, and I respect his decision to not let me do that wholeheartedly. But that's where I'm at. I started Great Miami Appliance Service. Great Miami is the river that flows between the two metropolitan areas, and I service the Great Miami Valley. So Andrew Soper with Great Miami Appliance Repair, a river of knowledge. So that's where I'm at as far as a new business owner goes.
That's awesome, man. And for those, before you ask, it's not Miami, Ohio, or Miami, Florida. It's Great Miami River. Between Cincinnati and Dayton.
Yeah.
I like the tagline, man. River of knowledge. And we was talking about in the laundry room that Doug Shear done the other day about culture and what sets your company apart from the rest out there. And I think a lot of times when we put it in our tagline, it really speaks. A river of knowledge. I mean, it really stands to communicate that you have that experience. It may be a new company, but you're not new to the game. I think that's good.
It's kind of neat on multiple levels, right? Because knowledge flows through you, and I don't know. I really do believe in myself as that river method, where I'm trying to accumulate as much as I can and grow as big as I can, without bursting the banks and without It's a neat analogy when you start to break down what a river can mean as far as a person or a business. But it also represents the Great Miami River, which is confused with Miami, Florida, and bring something to the forefront so people don't forget that it's not Miami, Florida. It's the Great Miami Valley of Southwest Ohio.
Yeah. So with you're about 5 months in now, then I've seen you from my observation point growing fairly well, actually, and pretty quick. What do you think would be some of the big wins that you had that really helped you to get to the growth that you have right now? Yeah, I know you're still trying to grow and kind of humble and kind of feel like you ain't made it yet, but from my point of view, it's working, man.
Yeah, so genuinely, the biggest hurdle was just doing it, right? I mean, a tech for a company for so long, there's a lot of fear to go out on your own, and it's still there. Don't get me wrong. I'm still afraid to be on my own. It was comfortable being with a company that was solid. They'd been around for half a century. They treated me good. So can I do it better? Hell no, I can't do it better. They've proven that, So just stepping out and doing it was the first hurdle. I'm past that one. But after that, it's really just, what's the best method, right? I mean, what do you do? How far do you stick your neck out there before you're, overextending? How many companies do you consider working for? How much money do you invest? What's the right purchase method for your vehicle? Lots of hurdles. I think you helped me overcome a big one, which was that, that first big job. And you were there to back me up on that. And that's something that got out of the way. Hey, you got your first $2,000 job out of the way. That's a big hurdle, right? You're not going to have too many of those, but when you can do one and confidently know that, hey, that job is done, you can now do that job. And that's a hurdle.
Yeah.
I'm still coming across them every day. Like the investment part is still a big deal. How much do you pay yourself? How much do you keep in the company? How much do you, put towards a recovery machine? That's my big dilemma right now is, do I really want to drop $1,000 on a full recovery system, or do I just want to pay somebody else to do all of it for me? I mean, there's just, I know the answer. It's just how quickly am I going to get a recovery machine?
Yeah.
But today's another big hurdle. Today's a really big hurdle, man. It's a silly one, but I'm going to the tax man today. I'm literally going to see my CPA for the first time. I know it sounds like a goofy hurdle, but damn it, I'm nervous.
Yeah, that's well, I think the biggest thing with that is just make sure that you're on the same wavelength, and you feel like you can build that relationship and trust him, man. My CPA, it kind of came as a funny way. I had a store at the very beginning, and I wasn't doing $3,000 a month. And he came in to see if I would fix his mini fridge, and I was like, I mean, we don't really do that. By the time you pay me to look at it, we probably buy you one. But we chatted for like 2 hours right there in the office because we weren't busy and had plenty of time. And he wasn't even selling his services. He just started giving me advice. And I was like, you know what? Let's do this. I like you. And he don't agree with a lot of my financial strategies, and maybe good reason, but he understands my goals and has helped me reach them. And that's the big thing, right? Mike, you got anything?
Well, I guess it's your first time meeting your CPA, and now you got a business. I mean, look at this as a good milestone. It's one of those necessary things that you have to do. Your CPA obviously isn't your tax man. Your CPA is to help keep as much money away from the tax man as possible. So he's not, don't look at it as a bad thing as he's the tax man. He's your friend, and they have the expertise that you don't have, that none of us have. And they can teach us certain things in our business to help us, organize things better, or, what I guess loopholes there are and things like that. So they're a big asset to you in your company. So kudos to you for making that first step with them, and hold on, because you're going over the hump now. It's not all downhill from here. There's going to be another hump coming at some point, but it's good. Look at it as a good thing.
I mean, it's excited fear, but it's still fear.
Yeah. Well, we all have fear of the unknown, right? But how many times have we worried about the unknown and it ended up being nothing to worry about? So,
well, I just want to do a quick reminder here. Andrew's usually the one that stirs the pot and gets the conversations flowing. So if anybody's got any questions out there for Andrew and want to hear, he's got a lot of opinions and a lot of points of view. So get him rolling here. Let's ask him anything.
You make me sound like I stir the pot as a bad thing. I just try to keep the ball rolling. I don't like a whole lot of downtime and silence. But
I don't mean it as a bad thing. It's just a fun way for me to say it, because he brings up the opposing opinion sometimes, and it's fun because it stirs the conversation up. It gets everybody thinking, and he thinks, Andrew, you get me thinking outside the box that I'm already in, and that's what I do like.
I did write up a mission statement a month or two back. I'd love to hear your opinion on it, but it's bringing life back to your appliances so you can get back to your life.
Oh,
I know it's kind of a simple one, but that was the motto, or the whatever, the quote that I wound up coming up with.
I like it. I like it.
Beard oil or balm do you use? I don't use a whole lot of product. I like sandalwood oils whenever I use an oil. Truly, I think sandalwood is the best smelling scent out there, but I don't use a lot of beard product.
This guy,
Next
Bob.
time we travel to a conference, I'm just going to bring a razor, just an electric razor. I'm just going to start shaving beards.
Maybe once, but it won't last very long. Better pack your lunch.
It's a great way to lose some friends.
Yeah.
Bob Winterstrom says, I'm curious what business strategy he kept from his previous employer and what he has changed. That's good.
Good question.
I don't know that I've changed a whole lot, other than the idea that a lot of extra overhead costs a lot of extra money to the customer. And while there are benefits to having a big company, there are also, downsides. So if there's anything that I've employed, it's try to reduce cost as much as I can so that I can pass that value on to the customer. Now that's going to change at some point. I'm going to have employees. So I know that that's not real forever, but that's the only thing that I'm really doing differently. And it's not a knock on him. It's just, I feel that that's my goal, is to provide a better value for a very specific group of people. What I've kept is pretty much everything, man. I believe that the company I work for did it right. They were honorable. They did good training techniques. They had great CSRs, and they would eliminate bad seeds. They treated employees like they were supposed to. So I think I kept almost everything. I think that his core values were perfectly in line with mine. But bloat is the only thing that I'd say I've changed.
All right. Kyle says that, as someone who is going to be starting a company within the next 2 years, what would you say for a beginner like me to do first? Like first. Thanks for the clarification, Kyle.
Yeah, I don't have the profound advice that you're probably thinking about, but I'll tell you, the only thing I can tell you is grow yourself first. Learn as much as you can in the appliance service side. I think that if you can service good appliances, the business will follow. If you could learn to be a good tech, you can learn to be a good business owner. I don't know that it's the same, and maybe I'm speaking out of turn because I don't have the experience here, but I don't know that a good business owner means you're a good tech, right? But I think being a good tech could mean a good business owner. So get your 5 years under your belt minimum. And quite honestly, I think 10 is probably the right way before you step out. But I don't have any big profound advice for you. There is actually. Save some money, man. Save a lot of money. Save yourself 6 to 9 months worth of bills before you even consider. And then save more so that you have something to invest. I think that's one thing I did do right, was we made sure that it was financially secure before I made the jump. That's the profound advice. Save up a lot of money. If you think you don't have, if you think you have enough, double that. And that's genuine, because you need a lot more money than you think you do.
I think that's, TK is asking kind of the same question. But I want to add to that money piece is not just in case you fall.
No, I still haven't collected a check yet.
It's psychological too. Like, starting this is a big deal, and it's scary to a lot of people. If you are trying to start a business and the thing in the front of your mind and everything you do is, I need a paycheck, then you're going to be doing wrong stuff for the wrong reasons. And it's probably not going to work. I think that advice is much bigger than people take it at face value. I mean, just that mental clarity and the stress relief of being prepared. I actually jumped a little sooner than I had planned. my employer I was planning to leave decided I needed to leave a little earlier, about 3 or 4 months early. But I had started planning months earlier, not taking any money into my personal income, but setting that money aside that I could afford to go 6 months. I ended up making it about a year and 2 months before I actually needed to start upping my pay. And that's this month. Kyle says it's good advice. He asked, you answered. He'll be at 7 then.
I think 7's probably a good number. Like I said, between 5 and 10 is where I think you should go. You know, there's a lot of guys out there. They're like, you know, I got my year under my belt. It's time to branch out. No way, dude. You're just still teething. So I think 7's probably fine, man.
All right. So TK, he asked specifically, what was your biggest struggle going from tech to business owner?
I don't know yet necessarily. I think realistically, it's going to be understanding bookkeeping and doing good bookkeeping. I like to think I'm doing fine. I got QuickBooks, right? Hey, it's got to be right. No, it's not. So I think true bookkeeping as a one-man show is probably my biggest struggle. Keeping everything in line, keeping my receipts, keeping my my pricing. You know, being able to go back and search for how much did I pay for that part. Trying to keep everything organized, and although I'm already pretty organized, you can really never be organized enough. I think when this much stuff is passing through your fingers, and I'm just running, you know, I've only ran 200 calls so far, and I'm still feeling like it's getting overwhelming. I can't imagine when I'm running, you know, 50 a week. It's going to be rough. So bookkeeping and organization is probably my biggest struggle personally. And I think that could be for anybody, but that's where I'm at so far.
I think one of the biggest mistakes that when somebody goes from the employee status to shifting to business owner status is they literally just replace one job for another. Okay. And they have a little more control. They have a little more freedom, but a whole lot more pressure that they probably weren't expecting. Right. And they kind of see the flip side of the coin where the grass is always greener. You know, that's where I'm going to go. And then they realize it took a whole lot of fertilizer to get it that way. Right. And that it took a lot of grinding for their old employer, you know, to be able to hire them, you know, and most people don't see that point of it. And I was one of those people myself. And once I came into the reality of business ownership and replacing one job for another, I very quickly realized that I couldn't grow at all if I was working in my business instead of on it. And that was, for me, the biggest struggle. And in all the business owners that I've ever talked to, it's been a very, very common theme. And one of the biggest, I guess, correlation that I've seen in any business is the real go-getters who want to build these bigger businesses, and they want to scale, and they're like, I want to get people. I want, you know, people are going to solve everything for me. You know, I'm going to hire other techs, and then I'll have all this free time to do other things, and just free time in general. And it's such a massive misconception because they end up running their businesses into the ground because they had no strategy, they had no plan, and they didn't know the numbers well enough to know when it was time to do certain things like that in their business. But I guess it's some advice that for you, from me, I personally, you know, run it like it's an empty bottle or an empty tube of toothpaste, or that toilet paper roll is really low. You start using less, right? you start, watching what you've got, and everybody starts out in their business that way, watching every penny and trying to really strategize where they're going to spend their money and what's the right investment for my business, such as, a recovery system. And I think once where the mistakes in business start being made are when you no longer have that end of the toothpaste tube mentality, and you have a little extra money and you just start wildly spending it, and it just goes away really quick. So my advice to you and anyone else who's young in their business, I would keep an eye on those things and keep that in the back of your mind, so that it's not about growing fast. It's about longevity, and slow growth is far less painful.
Yeah. Scott Holt says, turning scheduling over to someone else was the best thing I've done. It keeps the weight off your shoulders and allows you to focus on repairing.
That's truly my 1-year goal, is to have a CSR, hopefully already hired at the end of my first full year, but CSR and hopefully / bookkeeper, to be honest.
I've got somebody for you if you get interested.
Yeah.
Very affordable.
I know you like them.
Hey, I like them a lot. Rob Jones, our Samsung rep, says, find the right people and trust them. My biggest issue when running my company was I tried to do it all and little things slipped through the cracks. Amen, brother.
Yep.
I'm still fighting that every day. It's like I've noticed more this week that all the things that I'm taking on, and it's like I'll give something away and then I try to take it back. It's the same thing I do with God, but I do that with everybody, I guess. Mark Kelly says, what's up? Rob, always have the mentality of the work week. No matter if I had a full day of calls, the minimum was 8 to 5. Always be working, even when slow.
See, I'm finding that that's not exactly true for me. I'm finding that the workday is whenever the beckon calls, right? Because the phone ring doesn't stop ringing the phone doesn't stop ringing at 5 o'clock. And I'm noticing that if you don't answer the calls, they call somebody else. And I like being available to answer that phone at 6:30. It might suck to interrupt dinner, but that was a call. I just took that call. You know what I mean? So 8 to 5 doesn't. It's not quite the same as it used to be. To me, 8 to 5 meant that work was over at 5 o'clock. You got to go home and not think about work anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not finding that to be true. The day doesn't end. I had a customer text me at 10 o'clock last Saturday, and it was like, hey, I'm going to go ahead and fix that washer. Like, well, couldn't it wait till Monday morning? Like, why 10 o'clock on a Saturday? No, it's because it's when it popped up, and, that's when the message came through. So,
yeah.
Don't grow fast, grow right. And I think that's where I'm at, is I'm not looking for speedy growth. And I'll tell you, that's maybe one of my biggest blessings. What I had anticipated starting on my own in April. That's not the way things worked out. Things worked out for me like EJ, the message was now or get off, crap or get off the pot. And that's when January came in and said, you're not waiting until April, you're going now. And the blessing to me was January to March or January to April was a pretty slow period industry wide. So if I would have stuck it out with that company, I would have potentially gone into April with heavy demand. And that's not what happened. I went in February and was able to build. It was a soft open is what I'm getting at. I was able to go in during a slower part of the year, even though that's not what I anticipated doing. Slower part of the year, do a soft open, and then once the demand came in, then I hopefully have my legs and can meet
yeah.
the
About that soft open, it is a blessing if you accept it the way it is, because if you had opened and went full blast right from the start, it may have been a little harder for you to figure out what your procedures were going to be. Like you got to go slow, like I did, and figure out how you want to handle different situations before they actually came up uh, and start hitting you. Dr. Dan, he's got a new picture.
That is some wise advice right there.
Be careful not to let your business own your time, though burnout is a very bad thing. That's one thing I wanted to touch on there, Andrew. Is it's one thing we talk about a lot as you transition from one man show into something bigger, even if it's no other text, but you get some help, like on the office stuff, right? When you're first starting out, it's almost like every call is a good call, and every dollar is a good dollar. And you may or may not be doing that, but I wanted every single time the phone rang, I wanted to answer it. And I answered the phone 9, 10 o'clock sometimes, and my wife would look at me like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "They need help, and I need money. Yes, I'll go there on Saturday. Yeah, I'll go 7 o'clock at night, or I'll answer the phone at 9:30." And it got to a point where I was busy enough that I could say no. And it was TK that gave me that. He said, I've never done in 6 years of my business, I've never done a service call on a Saturday or Sunday. And I was like, maybe I can do that. It was like almost like permission, even though I didn't ask for it and he wasn't giving it to me. He was just like, hey, this is what I do. And it works. And I'm like, sometimes I want to go and do a recall on Saturday because I owe it to them. Or I'm really busy and I want to do their part install. But finding that balance is a good idea to some degree. You got to find it. What's up, Reggie? My man.
As far as burnout goes, I think burnout's real, even in the tech side, though. Right? We've all got that limit. Mine was roughly 40 calls a week. 8 jobs a day is where once I started passing that 45 calls a day, I didn't like my work anymore. It starts to get to be overwhelming. Once you do too much, it's not as fun, right? But that 40 to 45 a week is kind of where I liked it. So burnout's a real thing. See, I'm going to lose this call because of you guys.
You can mute us and take it.
No, it's all good. I'll call him back here in a minute.
Well, we're costing him $85. Right?
For real.
Everybody out there, count your blessings. Andrew has chose us over his customers.
I'm just joking. Don't let the business own you. It's important.
Don't let the business own you. It's important, of course. But what's the reason you're in business? Is the business your boss or vice versa? It's understanding your why. And I'll tell you, part of this answer is what we was talking about on setting yourself up for finances. If you're doing it solely for the money, then yeah, you're going to end up doing that. Right now, I think the reason Andrew's doing it, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, you're trying to establish your reputation and get your name out there and be the one that answers the phone. That's what I did at first. It was like, hey, we're the ones that answer the phone. Like, we actually answer the phone. It's a person.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, sometimes it works that way.
Right now, it's a sense of honor. The fact that they're calling me at all, right? They don't know me. They don't know who I used to work for. They don't know EJ's company, but they're calling us, right? That's an honor to me. I feel privileged in getting that phone call. So it is about money, right? We have to make a living. But the fact that they're choosing me to make my living through them, that actually means something to me.
Yeah.
It never did before. It never meant anything, right? They were the customer. I was going to get them no matter what. And that's not true.
It's a different perspective now, right?
You're not just going to get them no matter what. They chose to call you.
So I have a question now that the questions have slowed down a little bit.
Shoot.
We talk about a lot in the Service Alliance group and all the alliance groups about elevating the industry. right? We want to get rid of the stigma of another service company coming to take my money, or the cutthroat uh, competition type mentality that we're all out to get each other, our customers included, and come together and what are some things that you think of when we talk about elevating the industry that need to be addressed?
Well, I think we're all quick to jump on bad mouthing each other, especially on the Facebook groups. That stuff drives me crazy. We're quick to badmouth the last guy and call him out, and I think that that's unfair. I try my best to not badmouth the previous tech. It might be worded as the customer has to be told what happened, but hey, I don't understand the thought process on why this guy did this, but here's why I'd like to do it a different way. And instead of just saying, no, this guy messed this up, he did a bad job. No, that's not what they need to hear. They don't need to hear that their money was wasted. They need to hear that their money can be better spent, right? So I don't know that there's a lot that I can offer other than, for one, we're all in this together, man. Appliances are the name of the game, not EJ, not Andrew, not any of us. We're just a small speck in the whole scheme of this whole thing. So let's kind of work together, for one, as far as elevating that. I think that's the biggest one, is try to have each other's backs instead of busting each other's balls all the time. I think participation counts too. I'm not a big participator, but I do like to write the messages in the background, and I do like to answer questions when I think the questions need the answer that I can provide. Because not every question needs just your participation, right? Just because you've got the answer doesn't mean that you need to give it. Sometimes giving the answers is more of explaining why the answer is what it is. So if somebody's out there asking a question and you just say, hey, dummy, it's a belt, or hey, dummy, replace the blah, 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 knock that crap off. Just be like, maybe a little more considerate with your answers. Like, in my experience, I've found that belt needs to be replaced because the such and such is going on. So offer more thorough answers is what I'm getting at. The participation isn't just giving the answer, it's offering a better answer.
Yeah, I think it's like maybe a little bit of a narcissist or egotistical mindset to think that every question that gets asked needs an input from you, right? And there's people out there that if you don't agree with something somebody posts, it's okay to just keep scrolling.
Yeah,
it's okay. You don't need to add a smart comment and show how smart you are, or how big of a bully you are. Just keep rolling. If you have something to add it. I like to just say, thanks for sharing. I appreciate it. If I have anything more to add, and like you, if I feel like my answer needs to be heard, I'll answer it. But if 5 other people already said their reason, okay, they don't need EJ. You guys see enough of me every day. But I do like the perspective you shared too, for in the customer's home, about in real life, in person, not the virtual world, not talking bad about the other techs that have come before, the other companies. And you've also been very vocal about not bad mouthing the manufacturers. And I can respect that. It's kind of been on my mind now sometimes too, because I'll occasionally do that in a backhanded way. And I never meant it to bash, but you've made me conscious about what I'm saying and how it could be perceived.
Yeah. I don't think there's any good reason to be negative to a customer. I'm sorry, Mike, to interrupt.
No, I was just going to say, also keep in mind, anyone can pick apart anybody's work. I don't care who you are. There's always something that can be picked apart because none of us are perfect. So that comes back to you as much as you give it.
Amen.
Rod Bartriff said the "if you know" comment or posts. You know why they're fun to me is because I don't know, and I actually respect those because I have to do a little bit of research. Somebody does know, and somebody has given the answer. So if you read through those comments, you can pick up some really cool stuff sometimes. I understand why you don't like them, but why I like them is for the reason that I don't know, right? So now I have to do the research and find out what the hell are they talking about. So now I can know. A lot of the people that are asking questions that I think that's too basic. I'm not even going to waste my time on that. But the ones that I don't know are the ones that interest me the most.
Yeah, I love it when people share those tips and tricks. And I know when I first got into the industry, was the same time I started my business. It was I saw posts like that, and I was like, I don't know. What is this thing? And what is this piece of plastic or this special tool? Like, why don't I have that? And it made me pay attention, and like I said, like you said, man, when I was coming in, I studied all of these posts, the tips and tricks. Some of them people thought were so stupid. Why would you do it that way? Do it this way. I've done it this way for so long. Like, who cares? Zach Crider shared how he did the bottom mount freezer door gaskets without taking the door panel off on a Samsung. Like, so simple. I didn't know that. For some reason, it was in my head that I had to take the door panel off, and I hated it. But people share. You just got to pay attention and do the studying too. But I get what he means. If maybe somebody would add a comment under it, read the comments. A comment like read the comments for more information. Maybe. Mike Reed. Big one with me is the customer wanting me to badmouth the other company's prices. I get that the most. I might be the one they're badmouthing, actually.
No, I might say, hey, that sounds high, but it's probably market value. Everything's gotten more expensive. It sounds about right to me is what I'll say, and be like, but I'm not sure. I try to just kind of play it stupid when it comes to pricing because I am stupid. It's amazing what pricing is right now. I mean, think about anybody in here that's going to say you replace a belt for $200 minimum, right? There's not a guy in here that says they don't replace a belt for $200 after tax. Can you imagine what $200 for a belt was 10 years ago? People would have laughed us off the stage.
Yeah.
But that's like a bare minimum market value to put a belt on a dryer is like $200. But that's what the world costs right now. So
Doug wants to know if you've ever used a needle nose pliers for putting a belt on.
It's funny when I'm talking about dryer belts. That's how I put dryer belts on, is with needle nose pliers, Doug. Did you know that?
There's that.
I'm lying.
How many needle nose pliers do you have?
It looked serious too, and I was like, how's he doing that? If you know, you know, I guess.
Yeah, really.
I don't know.
No. The one that got a lot of conversation, I think it was a week or two ago, was about the airbag, that pump up airbag under the dryer lid to pop the lid. And there was a lot of talk about that. Like, who the hell cares? But why wouldn't you do it the right way? Like, there is a right way to do that. Why does the airbag trick, why is that a trick at all when it's so simple to do it the proper way? Like, I don't get it. But people loved it. People thought the tip was good. I'm like, right on. I'm not going to take away from that. It's not a good tip for me, though. Why would I choose to employ a method that I don't need to? So, right, it's not like I'm bashing that guy for having that tip, but for me, it's like I got nothing for you. I can't offer any any input on this because, for one, I've never done it, and for two, I don't understand why you'd ever want to do it. So I got no good input on that post.
Yeah. Well, there's also the one that was posted the other day about tape on the dryer heater.
Yeah, that's a controversial topic, right? There were lots of negative reviews on tape and on that housing, but how can you argue that the factory stated that this was the accepted repair? If the factory says this, then how can you argue against it? It's not something that I would ever want to do, but I'd never want to use tape in the location that it was posted. But at the same time, it's like, how can you argue with the factory fact?
Yeah. Doug says people seem to take it too personal nowadays. When we don't agree with everyone, opinions are okay. Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. Opinions are okay if you express them properly, but if you're putting your opinion out there as an asshat, then no, it's not welcome. It's not okay. You can have an opinion if you express it in a way that is polite. Even argumentative doesn't have to be mean. You know what I mean?
Amen. Yeah, I mean, like we said, I joke Andrew about it. He's probably the best at that because he seems to disagree with a lot of things, but he shares his opinion, and it's just an opinion. It's not that you're wrong or he's right, even though he is. Um, it's just an opinion,
Well,
and it ain't to bash anybody. And that's why Andrew's one of the better moderators we have in the groups. He keeps an eye on the different things, and he sees both sides of the story. Hey, what is it? Let's make a good decision.
I'm really quick to preface a lot of my things within my experience because that is the fact, right? It can be an opinion, but it's an opinion of my experiences. Yeah, putty knife, exactly.
Said I've never used the airbag. I've always popped them up with putty knife. However, I have used the airbag twice since then, and it did work. Took a little bit more time, but it did work.
So, if you wouldn't mind, Scott, what was the benefit to using the airbag over a putty knife? Anyway, go on.
Yeah. Well, I don't carry the airbag in my carry bag.
I gave mine away.
Yeah, I've got some, but I keep them in the van. So I would use the putty knife because I have it. Now I'm team small bag, not team carry everything from the truck. That's that.
Next time, don't try to bait me.
I did. You didn't take it.
No, I gave my airbag away to this guy that locked his keys in the car at the gas station. And I went and grabbed my airbag and handed it to him and said, I don't have time to help you, but here, man, you can use this. And kind of like a wedge to pull the door apart from the frame.
Yeah.
I was happy to give it away. I rarely used it.
I did that for a neighbor. I didn't know, like all the way at the bottom of my street, they posted in our neighborhood Facebook group that they locked the keys in. And I was waiting for somebody to say it because I noticed when I locked my keys in the car, the guy came and used an airbag. And I'm like, I have one of those in the van. If I could get in it, I would use it. But then this woman with her kids and husband wasn't home. And I was like, all right. I waited 15, 20 minutes. Nobody responded. I said, I've got an idea if you're willing to let me try something. And it worked. I got 3 5-star reviews that day for her and her 2 friends that were standing there next to me. This is a good a good way to use that airbag. Raise the fridge up a little bit, especially if you're trying to adjust the feet up. Yeah, Alex, that's definitely the best use. I use mine mainly for that and popping the washer wash plates up when they get stuck. Scott answers, no benefit. I did take a little more time, but it is a second option. I encourage people, even if it's 100 ways of doing something, please post your way it may help someone. Yeah.
And that's why I'm not out to bash that airbag thing, because, right? I mean, I don't know. It could be a better way, but
But Scott was willing to go out and try it. So, hey, I've been doing this for a long time. I'll try it. This guy says, I see lots of arguing on my post about techniques they have never tried, but want to tell me facts about it with no experience on the subject. That's Bobby. What's up, Bobby? Thanks for joining us.
Bobby who?
Howard. Speaking of,
yeah, we were just talking about you. I don't know if you heard,
dryer.
but you got a lot of controversy about your tape on the heating element trick, and you had backed it up by saying that Samsung factory made that recommendation to do it that way. And I'm like, how can you argue with that? You just there's no way to combat that.
Yeah, I think the tape looks very professional. I mean, I've heard of shoddier ways to do that. I've not heard of a better way to take care of that, and a more professional looking way. And I think it's something you could show the customer and say, here's something I did that should help you. And it don't look janky. I like it.
It looks just fine today. I don't know how much it's going to work, how good it's going to look after 100 hours of heating, but I've never seen it employed until that day. I've never had that issue. Rattling heater is a new one to me.
But to open more info on the topic title, if you know, you know, this is a method to encourage people to actually look at the post and engage conversation. Exactly.
Wholeheartedly agree, Bobby. Spot on.
We talked about that.
That was the response. That's it. It always engaged me to check it out. There's a lot of people a lot smarter than me out here.
Right, Alex, where the element housing meets the intake of the rear. I guess it's probably considered a bulkhead. I'm not sure what they would call that, but yes.
Yeah,
and so me personally, I would, if I did have a rattling heater, I would use a self-tapping screw.
That he came back to some a year later for support rollers, and foil was still on point.
I like it.
Doug Shear says, I did a whole BNI meeting, and you guys are still going. Love the commitment to the community. Please seek out these guys and sign up. Yeah. Hey, that's the our cue. You see the ticker on the bottom. If you're on YouTube, hit the like button, ring the bell, subscribe, whatever, do the things. If you're on Facebook, check us out on YouTube too. Help us build the algorithm, I think is what they say.
My wife is ready to use her desk, so I got to get out of here too.
Yeah, we're ready to go. Yeah, there she is. Hey, thank you all for joining us. Come back tomorrow for Ask Us Anything. We'll have a special banner.
I'm sure he'll be back, but he's right. Ask us anything. That's where I shine. I like to be in the comments, writing up some goofy questions.
I got another phone call.
All right.
Bring your questions and be ready for Ask Us Anything Friday. Sorry, guys. Peace.
All right. See you guys.